In the quiet of the evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the land, Abraham stood before the Lord, his heart heavy with a mixture of dread and determination. The news had reached him, echoing like a distant storm. Sodom and Gomorrah, cities steeped in wickedness, were destined for destruction. Yet, amidst the impending doom, his thoughts raced to Lot, his nephew, who had chosen to dwell in Sodom, a city that had become synonymous with depravity. Abraham's concern for Lot was palpable, but deeper than that was a profound wrestling with the nature of God's justice. Before we continue, just a reminder to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. By doing so, you'll stay connected and up to date with future content. Now, let's continue delving into Genesis chapter 18, verses 22 to 33, and the message God has in store for us. Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Abraham's voice trembled with the weight of his inquiry. The question hung in the air, a challenge against the very fabric of divine justice. It was a question that echoed through the ages, one that many hearts have whispered in moments of despair and confusion. Abraham's plea was not merely for Lot's safety. It was a deep, theological inquiry into the character of God himself. Could the Almighty, who had called Abraham a friend, truly act in a manner that would obliterate the innocent alongside the guilty? As he stood there, Abraham understood that God's justice must encompass mercy and righteousness. This was not a trivial matter. It was the essence of who God was. The patriarch's mind raced back to the promises God had made to him, the covenant that declared him the father of many nations. If God was to destroy Sodom without regard for the righteous, what would that mean for his promises? What would it mean for the very nature of justice that Abraham had come to know? With each step forward in his intercession, Abraham's confidence grew. He began to bargain with God, a bold move for a man of his standing, but one that stemmed from a place of relationship and trust. What if there are 50 righteous within the city? Will you then sweep away the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous who are in it? The audacity of his request was tempered by an understanding that God's justice was not arbitrary. It was grounded in an unshakable moral foundation. Abraham's negotiation was not just a desperate plea for Lot's safety. It was a profound exploration of justice itself. God's response was immediate and clear. If I find at Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will spare the whole place for their sake. This assurance brought a flicker of hope to Abraham's heart, but it was not enough. He pressed on, reducing the number to 45, then to 40, 30, 20, and finally to 10. Each time, God's unwavering commitment to justice was evident. He would spare the city for the sake of the righteous. Abraham's heart raced with the realization that God's justice was indeed intertwined with mercy. It was a justice that sought to redeem rather than to destroy. In those moments of pleading, Abraham learned a crucial lesson. God's judgment is not arbitrary, but is rooted in his character. The essence of divine justice is not merely about punishment or reward. It is about the nature of God himself, who desires righteousness and seeks to uphold it. Even as the cities faced their fate, the potential for mercy lingered in the air, a testament to God's willingness to spare the wicked for the sake of the righteous. As the conversation drew to a close, Abraham's understanding deepened. He recognized that he was not merely an intercessor for Lot. He was called to embody the very values of righteousness and justice that God upheld. This episode became a defining moment in his life, shaping his mission to teach others about the nature of God. He was to reflect the character of God, to be a vessel of righteousness in a world that often leaned toward chaos. In our modern context, the narrative of Abraham's intercession resonates deeply. We find ourselves navigating a world that often seems to mirror Sodom, a culture rife with moral ambiguity, where justice is frequently overshadowed by self-interest, and where the righteous often appear to be swept away in the tide of wickedness. As Christians, we are called to engage with these doubts and uncertainties, just as Abraham did. We must wrestle with the questions that arise in our hearts, seeking to understand God's justice in a world that often seems unjust. When we see suffering and injustice around us, we can echo Abraham's plea, asking God to remember his covenant with humanity, to act justly, and to show mercy. In our prayers, we intercede not only for those we love, but for a world that desperately needs to know the righteousness of God. We are reminded that our role is to reflect his character, to be agents of justice and mercy in a culture that may oppose him. Abraham's encounter with God teaches us that justice is not merely about the scales tipping in favor of the righteous. It is about the heart of God, who desires that none should perish. As we navigate our own challenges, we are called to embody the principles of justice and righteousness, to stand firm in our faith, and to advocate for those who cannot advocate for themselves. In the end, Abraham walked away from that moment, forever changed. He had confronted the essence of God's justice and emerged with a deeper understanding of righteousness, mercy, and the profound responsibility that came with it. His legacy was not just that of a patriarch, but that of a man who dared to question, to plead, and ultimately to reflect the heart of God in a world that desperately needed it. As we continue to grapple with the complexities of justice today, may we take inspiration from Abraham's boldness and commitment to intercede, trusting that in our struggles, God's character remains steadfast and true. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to praise our Lord. Type, "Glory to Yahweh," in the comments as a declaration of praise and glory to our Father for his infinite love, mercy, and patience for us. God bless you.